I just got accepted for a test knit for Sari Nordlund. I need to go yarn shopping.
2 hours later.
Hi cozy friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Morgan and I like to unravel my anxious mind with my cozy hobbies, mostly reading and knitting. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, grab a project, grab a cup of something cozy, and let's unravel. I got accepted to my very first test knit for Sari Nordlund. She posted the test knit call for the Belle and Sebastian pullover. And as a certified cable girly, you know I had to apply even though I didn't think that there was even a chance of me getting it. And I messaged my friends after I applied and said, I will actually poop my pants if I get this.
1 pair of pants later.
And they were all saying, why did you even apply? It's gift knitting season. What are you even thinking? And the deadline is literally November 28th, which as I record this is only 26 days away. It is right now November 2nd, but I only have to knit to the split for sleeves and then one sleeve. So it's not the full pullover. That is all that Sari needs feedback on to be able to release the pattern. It is just such an honor to not only get to do my first test knit, but to do it for Sari Nordlund, which is one of my absolute favorite designers. The Belle and Sebastian pullover is an all-over cable sweater that also has some faux cables mixed in. I got accepted to test knit the size 4, which is going to give me 30 centimeters of positive ease, which is pretty close to the suggested 25 centimeters. So when I got the email that the document had been shared with me for the test knit, I actually just stopped breathing for a minute. Oh my God, no way, what have I done? But once the dust settled and I realized I needed to get started on this project, I got this email literally 2 days ago, and at that time there was still less than a month till the deadline. So I needed to get yarn shopping. I was checking the online shops for all of the local yarn stores near me to find a fiber similar to what she used. So let's talk about that. She used yarn from the Wandering Flock. It is a 15% wool, 35% alpaca, 50% cotton. It's a very fuzzy, fluffy, worsted weight 10-ply yarn, and it has 130 yards and 50 grams. So it's a very unique, specific fiber content that I wanted to try to replicate. The only yarns I had on hand that could have worked for this were wool, 100% wool, and I just didn't feel like it would really have the same aesthetic to it. So I was pretty determined to get to the yarn shops and find something that would work for this project. And boy, did I. I purchased my first, what I would consider my first absolutely luxury yarn. I'm using Isager Soft, which is 56% alpaca, 44% organic cotton. There are 125 meters in 50 grams. And I'm using the color E0, which is a creamy, beautiful white tone. It has a bit of a yellow warm undertone, and it's just so luxurious and nice. And when I tell you feeling this yarn is like feeling a cloud, I actually was scared to get started knitting with it, but I had to get over that quickly. And I immediately started swatching for it. Here is my swatch that has cables on it. It's kind of tough to see in this lighting, but I'm absolutely stunned at this yarn and the way it works up. I'm obsessed with it. I wake up thinking about it and I can't wait to work on my project more every day. So I got this yarn on Thursday, which was actually Halloween, and I swatched and was able to meet gauge on a 5.5 millimeter needle, which is an entire millimeter up from the suggested needle of 4.5 millimeter. And the gauge it calls for is 16 stitches and 22 rows in 10 centimeters of moss stitch on the larger needles, which is suggested to be 4.5, but I'm using 5.5, as well as 19 stitches in the 10 centimeters for the main chart cable pattern. I do tend to knit tightly, especially with cables, but that is the most I've ever had to go up a needle size. And I should have made sure I was at the end of a row to show you what I've done so far, but this is how it is working up. And isn't it just breathtaking? Like, I am in constant awe at how gorgeous this project is working up. I have completed all the increases for the cables, and now I am doing the increases for the moss stitch for the back panel of the upper back yoke. This sweater will be knit in the round. It's just a drop shoulder construction, so that's why you start on the back. But I am just so excited to not only be test knitting, but working with such a beautiful yarn. And I'm really hoping that there's going to be a group chat for us and in this test knit. I'm actually thinking of reaching out to the host of the test knit. Sari has someone hosting it for us, and I think I'm gonna ask them if it would be okay if I reach out to the other test knitters on the email, because it would just be so nice to share in this journey and process with the other knitters, especially because there's always going to be bumps in the road, and it would be helpful to bounce those concerns off of other people before adding it into the doc. But so far it is so smooth sailing, and I'm just absolutely obsessed with not only this yarn, but this beautiful pattern. It's so fun to work up. As y'all know, I love knitting cables. There is something about it that just releases dopamine in my brain. It brings me so much comfort. So I just absolutely can't get enough of working on this. I also got DMs from people who have said that they are also using this yarn for other sweaters like the Winnie pullover. And I would really love to see this project also in a stockinette sweater. That would be so fun to work up. Now that I have had a taste of luxury yarn, I don't know how I'm ever going to go back. I think I am ruined for every other yarn now because my hands have known heaven. But as I said, I cast on Thursday and it is Saturday midday. So this is just a couple days of progress, but I have about 3 weeks to finish the entire upper body and one sleeve, which I think is completely doable, especially at this rate with how excited I am to work on it. I've also been making some cute reels of this process of swatching and getting started with this project. So if you don't already follow me on Instagram, make sure you do that so that you can see more live updates while I am in the process of filming these project vlogs for you. If you are working on a project while watching, please let me know down below what you are making. I would love to hear about it. But I'm really excited about this project, and I hope you enjoy following along the journey of this knit. time for a bit of a test knit update. Yesterday I went out with my Aussie knitting besties and we met at a cafe and did all of our cable knitting. I was obviously working on my Belle and Sebastian test knit, and my friends were also all working on cable knits, which is so funny because when I used to go on my knitting dates, I wanted to have something stockinette so that I could do it without messing up while talking to my friends. But now we are able to knit up a storm and also talk while doing our cable knits, which is so cool. My friend Laura is also doing a test knit. She is test knitting for Knitonomy. She's knitting a new cabled cardigan that will be coming out soon. And her deadline is in December. So we both just got started on it, which is really fun to share in the process of. Yesterday I completed the upper back panel and was able to pick up the stitches for the left shoulder today. It is so satisfying to me how the cables seamlessly connect, and that is something I wanted to create so badly on both my book club cardigan and the Dagmar cardigan, but it was just impossible with the diamond pattern. So it's really, really satisfying to finally have those connecting cables that lead into one another. The sizing of this is looking very large, but I think it's gonna be the coziest sweater in my life. All of my friends were absolutely obsessed with the yarn when they got to feel it. So it's just really such a special treat to get to work on this. And Sari actually shared my story, which is so cute. I like absolutely fangirl that I get to interact with these really amazing designers, and it just feels so amazing to be such a part of this community and feel really welcomed into it, even though I do still feel like a newbie half the time. I think that's really imposter syndrome, because I feel like with the kinds of things I'm able to knit, with the ease I'm able to knit them, I should not fall into the beginner category anymore. But I think we'll always feel a little bit like beginners, at least in certain techniques, and especially as someone who prides myself in always trying to learn new things. But it always fills my cup so much to get together with my friends and get to talk about yarny things and all the project plans, especially us being able to support each other through ups and downs. It's just really nice to have support like this, especially while living abroad. I didn't ever think that I would be able to make friends like this moving across the globe. Knowing them has really made me feel like I was somehow always meant to be here and know these girls. I am finding so much comfort in working up these cables, and I have just been knitting up a storm. I don't want to speak too soon, but I really think with the way this is flying off the needles, I'm not going to have any stress with meeting the deadline, but I guess we will see as this vlog goes on if that is the truth. So let's get knitting. So we have a new cozy corner situation. We are reselling the official Morgan Unraveled chair on Facebook Marketplace. And my husband got us a new cozy corner chair, and it is cozy. We swapped it out last night just after I filmed my update, and I am loving it. It does smell a little like mothballs, which is a little triggering for me because growing up my grandma's house did too. So we're working through that, and we did try to air it out a little bit. When my husband first picked it up, we left it outside for like 30 minutes, which probably wasn't long enough, but we didn't want like bugs to get inside the chair. But I have been cozied up in this chair all morning, and I actually was able to finish the left shoulder of my test knit. So here is the left shoulder on hold, and I'm now knitting the right shoulder. I've only just picked up the stitches for it. I'm now knitting the right shoulder, and I've only just picked up the stitches for it and about to do my first cable row. Got my cable hook out. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that row. I feel like this test knit is just flying off the needles, and it has been such an honor to get to do this test knit. And as this is my first time test knitting, I really expected that there would be so much more to like catch, but there really hasn't been any errors that I've noticed until this morning. So that's the first thing I've noticed. And then there was one other comment on the test knit so far that someone left about something on the left shoulder that I only just passed this morning as well. So far so good. It has been a very breezy knit, and I really just assumed that when you're test knitting there's going to be so many errors to catch, but that doesn't seem to be the case, and I'm not surprised considering Sari knows what she's doing. She probably doesn't leave much room for errors to come through anyways. I do really wish there was a group chat, and I'm still thinking about trying to reach out and make one, but I have not yet. But yeah, it is November, and so it's pretty crazy that I'm going to be spending this entire month hyper fixated on a test knit, but I am not much of a gift knitter anyways, and the only thing I can think of that I would be working on otherwise this month is finishing other 2024 whips that I don't want to take with me into the new year. And I am definitely going to start that video soon. I have a few projects I want to finish by the end of the year, and I'd like to document that process of finishing some hibernated whips. I think there is something so inspiring about entering a new year and wrapping up all of the things from the old year and entering the new year fresh with new inspiration and new goals and intentions. I love how I'm talking about this as if the year is completely over, but I was doing Christmas shopping this morning, so it's really just getting me in that mode. But I will say it is so strange to be living abroad as an American in the Southern Hemisphere. I'm living in Australia for the next 2 years, to have Christmas in the summer. I feel like it is so disorienting that it is getting so warm outside, which I am thankful for because we have been in cold weather for literally a year now. Based off of when we moved at just the end of winter in America and the beginning of fall here in Australia. So I am very thankful to enter a new season and to be in spring, but it is so crazy to think that we are going to experience Christmas in summer. And I'm really hoping to spend some special time with my Aussie friends so that they can really show me the ropes of what an Aussie summer Christmas would be like. And I think a lot of people spend Aussie summer on the beach because they're off work so they can take vacations. And I just think that is so funny. In America, like, you put snowflakes on the tree and all these other wintry vibe things. So I feel like it's not gonna feel like a real Christmas. But my husband's family is hoping to visit since his mom is a teacher and will be on her winter break. So hopefully she will be coming to see us and it will feel more like Christmas if we're around family. And I'll definitely get a lot more time with my best friends while they are off work for their holiday. And we're even thinking about doing a little bit of an American Thanksgiving here at our place and inviting some of our Aussie friends over. And I think that will be so cute and so special. A great way to show them some amazing dishes and just be thankful for the life we are creating here for the time that we are here and the wonderful people we have in our life while we're living here. I am going to knit up a couple more rows, but I also have some video editing to do during my son's nap. So let's get knitting.
giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby. And twist myself at the spine. Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just twist your body and mine. Baby, you.
Hi friends, I am currently joining the neck in the round on my test knit pullover, and I'm so excited to finally be joining the front, not all the way in the round, just the neckline. I have put in the neckline stitches and am about to work this row. I really need this knitting time today during my son's nap because I am just feeling so much anxiety in my body about the US presidential election. It is November 6th here in Australia, which is November 5th over in the States. And I feel like the whole world is kind of holding their breath on this election. And it's a really, really big and important one. And the anxiety is just like, I feel like an elephant is sitting on my chest. I feel like there is a huge lump in my throat. I feel like I haven't taken a full breath. So I am going to knit and try to watch a video, watch a cozy comfort show or something, and get my mind off of all of this because it's just too much right now. Did you just do?
Yes, it took the wrong one.
You did it on mom.
Let's take it.
You're gonna toot again?
Yes.
What the heck? It's time to do a bit of a test knit update. I have joined the front panels. I'm not sure if I've talked since doing that. I think when I last filmed, I had just done one row of joining the two front panels, but I am very close to actually joining all the way in the round. So I wanted to do an update real quick. I haven't been knitting as much because I've been heavily dissociating from the election news. So I am now trying to knit for a little bit of comfort and decompression, and I am hoping to get to the point of joining this project in the round. I will be, after that, putting it on hold as far as the body goes, because for the test knit, I only have to knit to the underarms, a sleeve, and the collar. So once I get it in the round, I'm probably going to just do a row or two, put it on hold, and then I'll probably put the collar on first and then work on a sleeve. So that is my game plan. It's time to get cozy and decompress, de-stress. I hope everyone in the US is taking care of yourself in the light of the election news. And I hope we can get cozy and unravel together. I just finished knitting the second pattern repeat on the front panel since joining for the neckline. And I measured my work from the shoulder, and I actually think I should do one more pattern repeat before joining in the round. So I have a little more work to do on this front panel, and I'm honestly enjoying it so very much. I also measured the pre-blocking width of how my bust circumference is going to measure out, and it's actually right on gauge. Hi cozy friends, time for a bit of a Belle and Sebastian update. It has been 2 weeks for me. For you it's probably been a few seconds, but let me explain. As you know, I knit up a storm on this sweater. At the same time, I was also finishing up my Salty Days sweater, as well as doing the twisted rib hem on my ranunculus. And that was a whole lot of ribbing and cabling. And I started to get some really tough wrist pain. And so as I bound off the Salty Days, I ordered a wrist brace, and I decided I was going to, rest my wrist for a few days and not knit. I really thought it was just going to be a day or two at that time. And that was on, I think, November 10th. Well, as I said, it's been a couple weeks. It is the 26th now. And I didn't knit on this sweater for 10 days. And then I tried picking it back up to pick up for the sleeves, and I was still in pain. And as you know, this is a very tight deadline for this test knit, so I started to get worried. But I talked to one of my friends, and she suggested some exercises for me to do for my wrist, like stretches, and I switched to applying heat to my wrist instead of ice. I had been doing ice the whole time, and I also got some advice to work from up down. And I do tend to kind of tense up sometimes involuntarily, subconsciously, when I am knitting. And I figured out that the pain was actually starting here. I have a huge, it's gotten a lot smaller now, but a huge knot in my shoulder up here. And I guess the pain was just radiating down into my wrist. I've been using some lavender body oil and massaging that knot out and trying to drain that knot there. I don't know if those are the right terms, but it offered a lot of relief. And I've also been using a little hot rice pack and putting it there, and it's just brought so much relief. My wrist doesn't even hurt anymore, which is crazy because no matter how much wrist stretching I did, no matter how much I rested my wrist, it was not improving until I started working on this up here. And I've been able to knit. So I got to working on the sleeve, and spoiler alert, I am on the ribbing of the sleeve now. I'm so sorry I haven't kept you up to date, but it's been really rough mentally to not be able to do the thing that I not only love doing and find so much comfort doing, but like need to do, because this test knit is a must. It's not, in my opinion, I don't ever want to disappoint someone when I've promised them to do something, especially someone like Sari Nordlund. I don't want to like be barred from ever knitting for her again if I don't follow through on the deadline. I know an injury is a specific situation in which I don't think they fault me for, but I also don't want to be put on a list of like, oh, you know, don't pick her for a test knit because she, you know, wasn't able to finish by the deadline last time. So that stressed me out. And also I was just having a whole mental spiral about not being able to do the thing that I create content around, the thing that brings me peace. Yeah, I just was spiraling a lot. So I did not want to turn on the camera. I was knitting this sleeve very much on sloth mode. I would do like a row at a time, and then I started doing like 10-minute sessions once I was, and this is after waiting 10 days of no knitting. And then once I felt better, I was just off to the races. I took this to the Crafty Cinema with my Aussie knitting besties here in Canberra, and it was so much fun, but I definitely was hurting during that because I hadn't figured out this situation yet. But in the last few days, I have gotten this knot worked out a lot and was able to finish this sleeve just in the nick of time. As you can see, I'm on the ribbing of the cuff, and all I have to do for the test knit is what I have here. So I have met the deadline and have offered my test knitting feedback. It was a very casual kind of hands-off test knit. There was no group chat, there was no interaction beyond correcting things in the Google document and having to set up your Ravelry page and link it to the test knit. I definitely thought test knits were a little more involved, but I have since learned that some test knits are hands-off, some test knits are more hands-on. But I'm so glad I got to do this and really, really happy with this project. Let me show you it on so far. It is so soft and cozy. This yarn is just a dream. I'm so happy to get to work with it and really thankful that I had this project to kind of pour myself into. But I also feel like I learned a lot through this test knit in that I really don't think the short test deadline was that much of a hurdle. It was really just that things happen. Things can happen in your life that are unexpected. Things can happen with your physical health that are unexpected, and that can definitely be a huge setback. As someone who deals with chronic pain and mental health, we can definitely have bad times, and I do think that my knitting and pouring myself into that helps so much with my bad mental health days. But when I have bad pain days, not just in my wrists, but in other places of my body that I struggle with, it can definitely cause setbacks. So I think going forward, I'm not really going to be applying to test knits with such short deadlines, but I did really enjoy the process of testing this, and I do think I will do more tests in the future. I think having a deadline for your knitting can be super motivating, but I don't struggle with motivation for my knits. If I want to work on something, I work on it. So I think going forward, I'll probably continue knitting for me and then sometimes knitting for tests or whatever. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I did the neck as well as the hem on the cuff in 4mm needles instead of the recommended 3.5 for the ribbing, just because I had to size up to a 5.5 instead of 4.5 for the body. So that has worked out really well. As you saw, it was a very oversized look. The drop shoulder actually comes to like here on me, but that is because I was selected and accepted to knit the size 4 instead of the size 3, which is what I would knit if I were going off of my bust circumference. But I'm really, really happy with the fit as well, and I can't wait to knit the rest of the body and the second sleeve. If you want to see this project when it is complete, make sure you tap subscribe so you don't miss my future podcast episodes. But I hope you have enjoyed this cozy knitting vlog and following the process of this test knit. Let me know down in the comments if you've ever done a test knit. Was it a different experience than the one I have had? I definitely look forward to knitting even more of Sari Nordlund's patterns. My favorite of hers that I have knit is the book club cardigan, and I think many of you found me from knitting that and doing the knit along, along with Mathilde from Nestled in Knits, as well as Sarah from Two Pearls in a Pod and Enzo Knits on Instagram. That was such a fun knit along. It really helped me find my footing in the knitting community. So I want to thank you so very much for being here. Thank you so much for unraveling with me. Don't forget to do something that helps you unravel, and I will be wishing you a very cozy week. Bye.